we as human beings are vastly different. It is because we have not had the same life, right? You have had a life that is vastly different from the person who might be next to you. You haven't had the same things happen to you in the same way at the same time. But what about what goes on inside? So think about the last conversation you had with someone. Even though you might have been completing each other's sentences, the thoughts that led up to your saying that sentence could be very different from the other person's. So, even though your output was the same, in this case, the input might not have been same. Now let's consider about the input. What about I tell you to imagine an apple? First of all, everyone would imagine an apple, but after that, you would actually have some other kind of thought. Maybe one person would think about an apple per day keeps a doctor away, or another person might think that they don't like apples. So this is that I gave you the same stimulus, however, you came up with a different answer. Carl Jung was a German psychiatrist, and he came up with the word association test to better understand our subconscious mind. But in this case, we are just going to use it to show that how our internal worlds are different from one another. For example, when I show you the word love, what comes to your mind? Mine is poetry. I think that it might be very different from what you might have been thinking. So now if we go on for 10 more rounds, we would have a little bit of similarity, but it is to show that we are still very different. We think differently. Now let's move on to another example. I will show you a color and you just have to name it. So blue, pretty easy, right? But what actually is the color blue? So your eyes have photoreceptor cells, and in those cells, you have different color combinations that are going on that is translating to you that this is the color that is blue. However, there are currently 8 billion people in the world, and those 8 billion people have a different combination, or maybe their photoreceptor cells are different from you because look at you. If not for your identical twin, you don't have much similarity with the other person. You have some kind of difference with the other person. And in this case, what is happening is that when I suppose I am teaching someone, I'm teaching a child that this is an apple and this is red. So when they first learn that this apple is red, they learn to associate the color that they are seeing with the word red. However, another person might have been seeing the other image over here, the other apple that to us it seems blue. However, they too learned to call it red. And that is all. Now, a little bit of monologue. I think that this video was actually uh, to show that even if you had the exact same upbringing or the exact same life as someone else, it still would be vastly different because of the way that we think, the way that we are wired, or the way our stream of consciousness is. I think that is the right phrase to use over here, or the term to use over here, that our string, or sorry, our stream of consciousness is always going to be different from one another. So even if we have everything that another person has, our internal worlds are always going to be unique and one of its kind.